And I know this is going to sound like I'm piling on, but the losing streak is now at 12 games.
Is it 12? I thought it was 11.
Walt Weiss is in the hospital. 11 games?
Yeah,
okay.
it's 11 games.
All right.
All right, I need to redo my commentary.
No. I'll redo my reaction. So the Rockies' losing streak is at 11 games.
Cut.
Walt Weiss is in the hospital after having undergone an emergency appendectomy. Jordan Lyles, the starting pitcher last night, took a batted ball off his hand, and his hand blew up like a balloon.
Looks like a clown hand.
Yeah. We think Tulo wants out. We know Tulo wants out.
Mouse.
Is this, you and I have been covering this team for 23 years now. Is this the worst you've ever seen it? And that includes the expansion year when they did have a 13-game losing streak.
The expansion year was fun.
Yes.
They had a lot of good hitters, and they scored a lot of runs, and that was entertaining.
And there were no expectations.
I thought they were entertaining for several years. They got to the playoffs once against Atlanta. And then I thought that they became a serious National League kind of team. And then I think, and I'd have to look it up, but the Jim Leland year was miserable. Because Leland wouldn't even change his lineup. He had Larry Walker out of the lineup hitting fourth. And what bothered me about him, he was so lazy at that point that he would just insert a guy that he brought up from the minor leagues to hit fourth. Rather than changing his lineup, he just scratched through Walker and put a guy in there.
And after 2 months here, he didn't want to be here, and he kind of gave up on the season.
And I don't really remember what their record was, but I thought that was a low point. I thought right around 2010, after they cliff dove from being a team in the playoffs to nothing, and it's been that way ever since.
Yeah. Is this as bad as it's ever been?
Yeah.
I feel it is. Woody, I feel it is because I feel there is, not only is there no hope for this year, but I look at their pitching going forward, and I realize who owns and runs the team, and I don't know if there's any hope in the far future. I hate to be like that. I love the game of baseball. I go to these games a lot. I probably go to 50, 60 games a year minimum. And I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. And I have felt this dismay and this despondency about the product on the field for the last few years, but I've never felt this bad about it. And I've never been this pessimistic about it going forward.
I go back to the email I got of a guy who is in college and went to the Rockies because he's doing a paper on their business plan. He's in business school at DU. And he said to the vice president, he didn't tell me which vice president. We talked to a vice president, probably in sales or marketing or ticket sales or something, and said, what's your business plan? What is the ultimate goal of your business plan? And they said, for people to have a good experience at the ballpark. And that was not winning the World Series.
That should be part of the business plan.
Sure.
It shouldn't be the first priority.
Yeah, and he said that kind of bothered him, that there was no aspect of how the team does. It's just that, okay, we got ice cream, we got a party deck, we got Todd Helton's hamburger place, we have clean restrooms and stuff like that. That's all part of it, but you think the New York Yankees go into the season saying, we want people to have a pleasant experience. They go into the season, their plan is to win at all costs.
Yeah.
Including all costs.
And the good time follows.
So let me ask you a question real quick, if I can.
Okay.
My plan was yesterday, Tulo, Jorge De La Rosa, and Cargo go.
Yes.
And as you correct me, and you're absolutely right, that's $47 million. What is their payroll this year? I've told you, 97.
Yes.
So that's 50% of their payroll.
Yes.
3 players. All right, so their payroll goes down to $45 million. What do you think they would do with that extra $45 million?
Well, they're going to get in return prospects primarily, so they're not going to be paying a whole lot out in payroll with that saved money. Then I believe they have to go out and sign a free agent or two, a veteran free agent or two, because it's going to be an incredibly young team, and they're going to need to fill in the gaps with some seasoned guys. I don't think the payroll will reach 90 or 95 or 100 composed like that. But look, if you do it smart, Woody, we've seen what Oakland has been able to do. We've seen what Minnesota, what Tampa has been able to do.
Even
with
the Marlins.
with
They
smaller
won 2 World
payrolls.
Series.
You can win with smaller payrolls if you're smart. They just haven't been smart.
You can even win if you're not smart, as
Yeah.
they were in 2007. They weren't smart. They just lucked into that. And the Marlins have won twice, and they weren't smart. They just got lucky, and they had a team that came together.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be smart. You just have to show up.